Google does a great job of answering questions and showing us the content we're searching for online, most of the time. When we don't get the results we're looking for, we may need to rethink our choices of search terms or use some extra tricks to point Google in the right direction. For example, let's say we want to know how my favorite sports team did last night. They're called the Wolves, so I'll search for Wolves on Google. But Google isn't giving me the results I want. I'm seeing a lot of animals and not much about sports. That's okay. I can just learn about my favorite bird instead, the blue jay. But when I Google blue jays, I get the opposite problem. A lot of news about sports and nothing about birds. What's going on? While it sometimes seems like Google can read our minds, it's not perfect. Here are some tricks you can use to help narrow down your searches so you can always find what you're looking for. When we want to look something up using a search engine, the first thing we can do is create a query. Queries are the words we enter into a search box or address bar to tell our search engine what we want to find. When looking at your query, Google will focus on words it thinks are important and ignore the small words that don't add a lot to the meaning. It also doesn't pay much attention to the order of the words. For example, the singer Billie Eilish gives us the same results as Billie Eilish singer. A lot of times, it doesn't matter if Google ignores some words or doesn't pay attention to their order. But sometimes we want to make sure Google includes certain terms, or we want results for all the words in our query in the exact order we've written them. When we want our searches to be really precise, we can use quotation marks. Here's an example. Let's say you're trying to remember the name of a character from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You remember that she's described as a girl who chews gum all day long. So you do a search with those words. What you get isn't a lot of help, a bunch of results that talk about whether it's okay to chew gum every day. So let's try adding some quotation marks. Now that we've told Google to search for all the words in the exact order, we get our answer: Violet Beauregard. Quotation marks are an example of a search operator. Search operators are special characters that Google uses to narrow down results. Let's look at a few more. One of the best ways to narrow down your search results is to tell Google to leave out web pages that have certain keywords. Adding a minus sign to your search can exclude terms you don't want cluttering your results. For example, if you search for cruel summer, your results could be mostly about the TV show or the song by Taylor Swift that has the same name. Depending on what we're more interested in, we can use the minus sign to narrow down our results. Minus shows to focus more on the song, and minus Swift to focus more on the show. You can also narrow a search to a specific website. This can be handy if you want to find information on a website that doesn't have a search function or has one that doesn't work very well. Or if you want to search within a site you know is reliable or has good quality information. To search within a website, we'll start our search with site with a colon, followed by the website address and then the terms we're looking for. Say you want to learn about puffins and know National Geographic is a good place to start. If you search Google for site:nationalgeographic.com puffins, it will show you all the puffin content from that site. If you want to search for more than one thing at a time, you can add or between two search terms. This can be helpful when the thing you're searching for goes by more than one name. For example, let's say you want to do some research on those bugs that look like they have armor on them. The ones that roll up into a little ball. Some people call them pill bugs, others call them potato bugs, or roly-polies, or even terrestrial isopods, if you want to get scientific. If you want to learn everything there is to know about these creepy crawly crustaceans, you can do a search that looks for multiple names at once. Pill bugs, or roly-polies. That way you make sure that you don't miss out on a result that uses one term but not the other. Google is usually pretty good at finding the information you're looking for. But if you're not getting what you want, try using some search operators to get more specific results. Different people may get different results depending on where they are, what's happening in the news, and what they've searched for in the past. So, you might have to experiment with the terms that you want Google to pay attention to and which ones you want it to ignore.